I heard something about crossword puzzles that's going to amaze you and maybe even save somebody's life. I was in a room with maybe 150 people who had had lunch and they were not expecting much. They just thought somebody's going to get up and speak for 20 minutes. And suddenly, Dr. Bresky stood up there and had everybody in his hand. And he shocked us to death by saying that anybody over 50 has already begun the process of Alzheimer's. And then he turned it right around in an instant and said to us, but there is hope. And if there's anything about what you have done that has to do with what we do here on Touch of Encouragement, is we constantly try to give you moments of hope, information that provides you some place to bring your concerns, bring your cares, and find some hope there for them and some encouragement. Okay, here's another question I want to talk to you about. Brain exercises.
Yes. The brain works through numbers and patterns. I discovered it in my research. So what I've done is invent over 2,000 cognitive exercises for the brain to work and grow new brain cells and connections. If they don't come to my office, can't do it, do crossword puzzles. We have the evidence that people who do crossword puzzles every day lower their risk of Alzheimer's by 67%.
Wow.
So I write my own for my patients. I write my own crossword puzzles. I actually have one patient in their 80s that is doing the Sunday New York Times. I cannot believe it.
That's the in their 80s and the crossword puzzles. See, I think that's really interesting. It's because of patterns.
It's patterns and words and reminiscing. Remember, I believe that if you stimulate long-term memory, short-term memory gets better. Crossword puzzles allows you to do that.
Now, if a caregiver, you say that memory and long-term memory, stimulating long-term memory helps you with your short-term memory.
Right.
So if a caregiver, for example, brings a big scrapbook with a lot of old pictures and says, Mom, you remember this? Or Daddy, here's some
never
pictures.
say, remember this. Just say, look at the picture and tell me what you see. See, when you ask them the question, remember this puts them under stress. Stress through cortisol kills brain cells, and we don't want to do that. So there's a way to communicate with people with early dementia. I teach caregivers how to do that, because if you don't speak to them and communicate correctly, they are going to do something like wander or sundowning or something out because they're under so much stress and they want to communicate that, but they can't say it to you, so they'll do it with agitated behavior. And the number one reason people go to nursing homes is agitated behavior. What happens there is they get over-medicated with antipsychotics, antidepressives, because we don't like their behavior, and we double their mortality. It's immoral, Martha.
You know, you talk about the agitated behavior, and I think about my mom. And I remember that as her Alzheimer's progressed, which is an ironic word, but she was in a place where they called it memory support. But they weren't supporting the memory, they just put her in a chair, and every time I'd show up, she was doing nothing. No one was reading to her. No, she wasn't doing any crossword puzzles. She wasn't making anything. She sat in a chair. And I said, why isn't she, walking or reading or something? And they'd turn on the TV and line these folks up. It was horrifying. She didn't understand anything that was going on a lot of the time near the end. But when we played the piano and sang with her, she may not have known who I was, but she knew the lyrics to all the songs, and she sang like crazy. She was the happiest.
You know why? We have the data. In the uterus, you and I develop myelin, which is the insulation around nerve fibers, and it's behind the ears. And the day we die, those are the last cells to die, never affected by Alzheimer's. So when I was an obstetrician in my birth center, I had my babies listen to music that the parents played when they were studying to have the baby. And today, I use music with my Alzheimer patients who can't speak. They will sing the songs and they will start speaking again.
Yeah.
So I teach a course called Using Music to Heal. And the best piece of music for the brain, because it cannot stand chaos, is Mozart Piano Concerto Number 21. That one causes, we see that on MRIs.
Not 19 or 20.
No,
not
21.
22, just 21. Okay.
So we know the piece.
And this is maybe one of the most encouraging things we've done. So I hope that you, if you have any concerns about Alzheimer's, that you will really watch all these different series that we're doing with Dr. Bresky, and please check out his website. It's so interesting. It's so encouraging. And I'll tell you, I'm going to start going to bed earlier. I'm going to hit more of the Mediterranean diet very soon, and I'm going to start doing crossword puzzles for sure. 67% lower risk of Alzheimer's just by doing crossword puzzles.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Arnold Bresky, please check out his website.